Curious about what it takes to build a world-class engineering hub in MENA? Looking to foster innovation or scale your own projects? Up next, engineer Ahmed Tolba from Microsoft Egypt Development Center will share insights about that journey. Please welcome.
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon. I hope you guys are having a very enjoyable time, kind of like me being here for the first time, experiencing Jordan, an amazing country, and also an amazing conference. I'll actually my presentation would be a bit different today. So instead of giving you guys dense slides with content and graphs, I'll be telling you guys a story. And this is the story of how one of the most promising engineering existences in the region came about. And I'd like to start by first introducing myself. So my name is Ahmed Tolba. I've been born and raised in Cairo, Egypt. I've always had a very strong fascination with computers at a very early age, thanks in part to my dad, who has been a university professor and one of the pioneers of the computing industry in the Arab world. I remember back then we used to have a very old device called an Apple IIe. So this was my first experience with computers, and it's an amazing, amazing device. I remember my dad used to work on it by day, and we used to actually sit together, play games at night. Of course, very rudimentary games, not like what you get today. At least I do the playing, and my dad did the shouting. Of course, I'm kidding. Then, basically, I also, at the end of my elementary school, actually at the beginning of elementary, like end of elementary, beginning of prep, I actually participated in this Arab-wide programming camp and competition. It used to be a Palestinian company that actually ran this camp. And I remember, at a very young age, I won first place at this programming competition. Of course, you can imagine the amount of morale boost that you get as a little kid when something like this happens. Now, I think my path was set for me, and I had very little doubt that I'd like to be in computing, and I joined a prominent local university in Cairo, and I did my undergrads in computer science. So this actually is, I would say, the phase of my story that I'll call passion, right? Now, so basically, for no advantage of my own, I was lucky enough to join one of the most known companies in computing right after my graduation. And I've been with the same company ever since. And I was also lucky enough to work at a fundamental offering that they have to do what used to be the world's most popular operating system, and I used to work in the core group of that. And this was in the mothership, in the HQ of my employer. And I remember that basically, when I started, I had this very first feeling or experience of being professionally scared. Because despite how much foundation you get in your education, when you're faced with reality of working at such a big company, you feel that you have to learn what it takes to be a good professional engineer at the industry. And then time passed by, and I was developing personally and professionally, and this chapter of the story, I think we'll call it the curiosity phase, right? Then what happened next is the coming of age phase of the story, where you believe that achieving individual contribution is only one part of the professional legacy you're trying to create. And this is when your roots start pulling you in, if you may, and you consider taking a step back and joining your home country. And to me, this was, again, a scary transition, because after spending a bit of time in a different environment, you don't know what to expect. But you still like to bridge the gap between what you've seen working at this company that I'm with basically all of the potential that exists in the region, and you kind of take a leap of faith. And this would be the maturity phase of the story. Then I was lucky again. So when I went back to Egypt, I was still part of the same company, and I joined a pretty nascent, small size, but promising technical presence in our company. And then you realize that you're operating in a totally different environment. It's almost that you have to work very hard to prove yourself each and every day with each and every interaction. And this is not specific to the region. I've seen many other remote presences in my company and beyond suffering the same institutional crisis, or we can call it the institutional imposter syndrome. But then you realize that you have to put in the effort, you have to reinvent yourself. And in our entity, we started being slightly dispositioned toward research. Then we moved into applied sciences. Then we moved into owning some of the products and services of my employer. And so we did everything that we can do. And our presence is roughly well distributed between software engineering and applied science. This is a time where you also realize that you're building your institutional DNA. So as part of all of the, everything that you're trying to do to blend in and create impact, you also are developing a very unique presence as a team and as an organization. You also realize that this is the beginning of shaping the organizational culture, which, again, would carry through with each and every step of the story as we would go through. So now to what I was describing is the cultivation phase. Right? Now you realize that you've been doing what you're doing long enough that it's time for you as an organization to take it up to the next level. And you try to build on the foundation of trust that you achieved through all of your prior engagement as a team. And you also have a good internal brand within the company to rely on. And this is also the phase that you have to do a lot of pushing, right? And they say third time is a charm. For us, it was millionth time is a charm. And we got used to the rejection, and the rejection was an essential part of this phase, which I call grit, right? So you're pushing very hard, and then you feel that you have all of the right makings of growth, and then you need to make sure to pull in the right investment to grow as an engineering team. Then, again, because of how things turn out, your pitch lies or ends up landing on attentive ears. And you have somebody, an executive, who is adventurous enough that they would like to be on your journey of growth, and they decide to support you in terms of taking it to the next level size-wise. But then again, you realize that growth is not the end game. It's the start of a new and challenging phase of the lifetime of the center. And that when you're a remote organization like us and you'd like to jump on the next growth opportunity, you don't get growth on your own terms. You get growth on the terms of the people that are supporting you to grow. And this ends up creating a lot of misalignment, confusion at times, sporadity, and then you have to figure out that everything that you've been through every step of the way actually helps you to land success at scale in this phase of the growth of the organization. You also realize that you have to create a very cohesive forum of internal and external stakeholders that would help you create the alignment that you need to succeed as an organization. They would also help you be part of solving any problem that actually comes on the way. And again, facing problems is just a matter of course, and you have to be ready for that. So, and hopefully speaking, you grow from an organization of tens of engineers, like in our case, to hundreds of engineers that are working out of Egypt. So evidently, this is called we call it the growth phase. Then you realize that this is just another step in the journey, that everything that you built so far hopefully enables you to create success at scale, and provided that you have the right environment. The right environment that you have been building from the beginning of all of the phases that we described, and you realize that something magical happens at this stage. All of the alignment, all of the support that you created, all of the success that you've been landing so far makes everything sometimes automatically happens. So as one of my previous managers put it, and this was like when we were trying to grow the organization very aggressively, he told me that you spend your time worrying too much about how this investment would be successful. And he told me you have to think about it as if you are planting seeds. Some of the seeds would grow into healthy trees, which is the main investments that our engineering office anchors on, and others would take their time to grow, and others would recycle into something else that would eventually be successful. And things have a very fascinating ways of coming together, and this is exactly what happened. And this is you realize that you still have to stay close to your roots, you have to stay close to your culture that you built, and you have to realize that your most important asset is still the talent that you built, that you have to obviously protect and grow. And this is the phase that I call the nurturing phase, right? Then, after all of this, you realize that things worked out, like each and every step of the way, you lived up to the challenge, you faced the challenge, you were very reflectful and thoughtful in the way that you try to cultivate success, but you didn't have a master plan at the beginning of the story, that every step of the way, in a very fascinating kind of way, was preparing you for the next step. And you realize that this is the time that you need to step back and feel pride at all of the accomplishments that we have done as a team, creating this very important engineering presence for our company in the region. And you also realize that the part of building any legacy is for you to be able to step back from it and for it to continue on its own. And hopefully speaking, throughout this journey, that each and every step that you've been through as a person and as a team prepares you for this, for this organization thriving on its own. So this is the part that I call enjoy, right? And like, luckily speaking for us, each and every step of the way has been a great opportunity for us to learn, to grow, and to enjoy the journey as it comes. And this is how like this amazing, amazing entity came to be. And I'm happy to have played even a minor part of the establishment and the growth of this presence. Thank you very much.